The videos to the jury and lawyers only. However, you will be allowed to stay in the courtroom. But I'm going to ask all of you to, I know that there's many of you, to go to the right side of the courtroom eventually, not right now because it's going to take a few minutes. Everybody understand that?
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Everybody, all the news media, not anybody in the courtroom actually. The left part of the courtroom will have to be empty. We're going to, as much as possible, push everybody over this way for the videos. Yeah, they can start now, but you want to wait. This will take a few minutes to get ready. And there's going to be some testing, so. All right.
We just want to bring that to your attention.
in the back.
You know what, from there, maybe it's gonna have to be a little more.
Oh, yeah, we can
dirty
anywhere
anyway.
you want.
Yeah, I pull it out, yeah, I would pull it out and hang it on this. Perfect, that should be better. I think they can all see it.
You're not the keeper of the ticket.
Okay.
Good job.
Very nice.
You struck one.
Morning.
Yes.
Erin, your dad?
Yeah.
Well, he is not giving us a much time to do that. That's for the two you refer to on page 16.
Good, all right.
That's the only thing that I thought.
I know.
And I should ask you.
Thank you so much.
I think that's what it is, yeah. Page 1 and 3.
I think it's good.
Appreciate it.
Right.
Great.
Yeah, they misspelled my name.
M-O-N. N-I-R-K.
Okay, that's very helpful. That'll be a lot. When people want to do football. Yeah, thank It's all now, so we just don't turn it out. Or we
I work 10 to 2.
What about that camera?
With an hour and lunch.
So I just, so this is all about Is there built-in function? I think in a meeting. open session. You may be seated. You'll raise your hand. Do you solemnly swear affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Have you ever testified in a jury trial before?
No, I have not.
Okay. You can look at the jurors. They're not going to fight you. Would you state your name for the record?
Bernard James Jansen.
And is it Dr. Jansen?
I have a PhD in computer science, Dr. Jansen.
So, Dr. Jansen, so that the ladies and gentlemen of the jury can properly evaluate the testimony you're going to give today, I'd like you to give them some background on your qualifications. Before you do, did we retain you in this case in 2014?
Yes.
And could you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what it is that we retain you to do?
I was asked to calculate the number of people who have viewed the videos taken of Miss Andrews in the hotel room at the Nashville Marriott from July 2009 up until I filed my last update, which was the end of January 2016.
Okay. And are you going to be able to give us some numbers on that?
Yes.
Are the numbers that you're going to give liberal or conservative?
I took the most conservative calculations that I could. If I wasn't sure of the numbers, I didn't include it in my final tally of the number of people that have viewed the video.
All right. And in a little bit here, are we going to be actually viewing the videos on a screen so that the ladies and gentlemen of the jury can see what's there?
Yes, that's what I've been informed.
All right, so, and let's back up and give them your qualifications and background. First of all, your educational background.
Education, I did my bachelor's degree at the United States Military Academy at West Point. I have a degree in electrical engineering, computer science. I have 2 master's degrees, one in international relations and one in computer science from Texas A&M. And then I have my PhD in computer science, also from Texas A&M University.
And when did you obtain your PhD in computer science at Texas A&M?
That was 1999.
All right. Do you serve in any teaching capacity?
I'm a full professor at Penn State in University Park. I teach a variety of courses there, both graduate and undergraduate, computer programming, project management, web analytics, research methods. So I teach a variety of courses.
Okay. And how long have you been a full professor there?
I've been a full professor for 2 years. Prior to that, I was an associate professor, which is also tenured for 5 years. And prior to that, I was assistant professor there for 6 years.
So I also see here, I mean, your curriculum vitae, your resume as a professional goes on for 48 pages, correct?
Yes, a little more now, but...
I'm not going to go through all of it, all right? But some more questions for you about your background. I see here that you're the Director of Information Searching and Learning Laboratory at the College of Information Sciences and Technology at the Pennsylvania State University.
That is correct.
All right. And that you are an expert researcher for the National Ground Intelligence Center on Boulders Road in Charlottesville, Virginia, correct?
I was held that position until the end of 2014.
So would you summarize what those positions that I just described were all about?
For the lab directorship, part of my duties as a professor is to conduct research. And my area is web analytics, web searching, keyword advertising, online branding. And to do that, I'm time in mentor students, both graduate and undergraduate. And the lab is a mechanism and a holding place to coordinate efforts among multiple students and myself to accomplish bigger projects. For my role in the National Ground Intelligence Center, I was a university consultant for them. They're an open source agency that does intelligence work for the U.S. government.
Okay. So do you also currently sit on any advisory boards?
Yes. I'm the editor-in-chief of 2 international journals, one Internet Research. I'll be handing that over at the end of March. I'm also the editor-in-chief of Information Processing and Management, which is one of the leading journals in the information science field. I also sit on the editorial boards of, I believe, 7 other journals.
In your CV, it mentions that you have published articles.
Yes.
Are these articles sort of like a blog post in the New York Times, or is it the literature that forms the basis of science and technology research and knowledge?
Okay. Yeah, the second. As my role as a researcher, I'm tasked, and my job is to conduct primary research and the areas of my specialty, again, web analytics, web searching. And in academia, the way we do that is we conduct research, come up with findings that address questions. I happen to be an applied researcher, where I deal with practical problems of everyday life. And the way the academic systems work is those research papers are then peer-reviewed by people in my field, typically anonymous to me, who evaluate them for scientific rigor and impact and the potential for future research.
Incidentally, how long did you serve in the military?
I was in the military for 20 years.
And did you go to A&M after that, or while you were in the military?
I did my master's and PhD while I was in the military.
Okay. Well, thank you for your service.
Welcome.
So, have you also authored or co-authored any books?
Yes, I've authored or co-authored 4 books. Authored one of the first books on online advertising. That was published by Cambridge University Press, a big thing for us academics. They've been publishing books for 500 years. I've also done 3 other books in the web analytics, web searching area.
And those peer-reviewed articles that appear in the journals, about how many of those have you published?
Over 250.
Okay. So the CV here, it has a lot of pages that describe the articles, the books, and so on, correct?
Yes.
And did you also receive in 2002 the Award of Distinction for Interactive Website Development?
Yes. When I was still in the military, one of my last jobs was running a educational system development division at the Army War College, which is in Carlisle Barracks, Pennsylvania. And so I was in charge of the visual information division there, about 20, 30 folks, and we would design systems that would support the War College. And a couple of those were fortunate enough to win some awards.
And did you receive 2 Crystal Awards of Excellence for Outstanding Software Development in the Communications field?
Yes, same organization.
Now, I'm not going to go through all the awards and so on that you've received for work in your field, but is it safe to say that we've at least highlighted a couple of them to give them a couple of examples?
Yes.
So, then, the various work and research and study and teaching and positions and awards and books and so forth, have you used that sort of methodology and science in coming up with the opinions that you have formed for today?
Yes. In my research and teaching, I use a variety of web analytics techniques, which is understanding online data, how people search, what pages people view, sites they go to. And I've applied those many times in the classroom. I've applied those in practice. I've managed over 114 different online advertising campaigns. And I've applied those methodologies here to address the question I was asked to do.
Okay. So when we contacted you and asked you to look into this for us and give us a very conservative opinion on what the numbers would be, when we did that, did we provide you some information to read and review?
I don't know if it was exactly at that time, but over the course of the event, yes, I received some material.
You know what? I kind of pushed it all, the beginning of all this together. Did we first contact you and ask you if you had expertise to do something like this?
Yes, exactly.
Did you send us your curriculum vitae and give us your background and so forth?
Yes, I did.
And then did we retain you to do this work back in, I think it was 2014, correct?
Yes, it was August 2014.
All right. And when we retained you to do the work, did we then send you materials to read and send you the video clips for you to take a look at and analyze?
Yes, I was given the original complaint and two CDs, one with 7 video clips on them and another with 1 video clip on them. Was told one CD contained the videos that were taken at the Nashville Marriott, and another was another location.
Okay. All right. And so you looked at all those and did some analysis on that?
Yes, I did.
Now, I'm not going to ask you about everything that you read and reviewed and preparing for your opinion, but did you feel comfortable that you had enough information to start your work?
Yes, I did.
All right. So then you started web analytics, right?
Yes. Applied several methodologies to starting out.
Okay. So, and of course, you've never met us before, right?
No, I hadn't.
And altogether, over the years, about how many cases have you even been involved in?
My first expert witnessing case was in 2006. 2006, and since then I've been involved in about 22 cases where I've done some type of work.
Okay. And do you always work on the plaintiff's side of the case? Do you always work on the defense side of the case, or how does it break down?
It's broken down about 50-50. About 50% of the time I would be called the defense side, and the other 50% the plaintiff.
And of course, when we called you about this and told you about the question we had, and you understood the time it would take to do the work, you then told us you would do it for free, right?
No.
Okay, so do you charge for your time?
Yes, I do charge for my time. I like getting paid for my work. Yes.
Okay. And what rate do you charge?
I charge $300 an hour.
Okay. And you get paid that regardless of the outcome of the case?
Absolutely.
And so, before they start to hear all the work that you did, would you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury about how much time you've spent on this case?
I've invested about 100 hours so far, since August 2014.
So that puts your billings in this case so far at about $30,000, right?
About $30,000, yes.
All right, so why don't you work the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, if you would, through how you did your work. And you know, I'm going to pray to you to please keep it at a level that I can understand it, because I know that you guys are into this stuff, and I want us to understand the basic outline of what you did, okay?
Okay.
So you're not talking to a bunch of computer students. There may be some here that are very knowledgeable on that subject, but, you know, do it for me, okay? Because I'm not one of them. I'm an English major.
Okay.
All right, so would you tell them what you did, work them through what you did to reach the opinions that you're going to express?
Okay. Well, to address the question again, how many people had actually watched these videos from July 2009 to the present, or to the end of January this year? I leveraged several different services to first just explore what numbers were out there. After trying and evaluating several different options, the approach I selected was to look at primarily the search data, how much searching was going on for these videos. I did that for several reasons. One, the search data from Google and Bing, which are the two primary search engines I use, are very reliable. I was very familiar with the services on how to get them. I had used these services in the past, both in my research and teaching, so I was confident of the reliability. And so my approach was to focus on the search data as a indicator of how many people have looked at these videos.
Okay. So let's get a couple of terms clear here for the ladies and gentlemen. There is something called direct traffic and something called referred traffic, correct?
Correct.
Those two terms, and understanding them, will be basic to understanding why what you did is so conservative, correct?
Yes.
All right, so would you explain for those who may not know, and maybe some do, the difference between direct traffic and referred traffic?
Yes. A website on the web can have any type of information on it, and there's many ways to get to that particular site. One way is just to type the URL, the address, the link into your browser location bar, and that will take you directly to the site. That's called direct traffic. Another method of getting that site is to have some other site in between you and the site you're eventually going to. It could be a search engine, it could be a social media site like Facebook, it could be another website. Okay, in other words, that particular site refers you to the site you actually want to go to. That's called referral traffic.
Okay, so when you did the work you did, were you looking only at direct traffic?
No, I was not.
Okay, you explain.
Okay. I investigated whether I could get reliable data for direct traffic. In other words, people just going to the sites or being, although I could get some numbers for sites that had posted the videos, I was not comfortable in the reliability of those numbers because I could not verify them from another source. Therefore, I didn't include those views and that traffic in my estimate of the number of people who have viewed these videos.
Okay, so what you did was you investigated the referred traffic and decided it wasn't reliable enough, correct?
No, I investigated the direct traffic and decided it was not reliable.
You investigated the direct traffic?
Yes, and decided it was not reliable.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I feel like I've got everything involved up here. Why don't you explain to them the way you did?
Okay. Well, in terms of estimating the number or calculating the number of people or the traffic, I just used the searching data from the search engines, Google and Bing. Right? That data is, again, reliable. I've worked with search engine logs myself. I've used them in courses and teaching, so I was solid with that particular data and those numbers.
Okay. So is that one reason that these are going to be really conservative numbers?
Yes, these are very conservative numbers because they don't, the numbers, yes, the calculation I arrived at does not account for direct traffic. It doesn't count for referrals from other websites. It only accounts for the search traffic that was driving views to these websites.
Okay. And so were at least some of these websites pornographic websites?
Yes, I investigated several pornographic websites.
So sometimes her video shows up on a website that might be entitled something like hot porn, and then there will be a series of things you can click on, and there'd be Erin Andrews' peephole video, and then it would be surrounded by all kinds of sexual acts, correct?
Yes. I mean, I can elaborate if you would like, but...
Without being graphic, if you could.
In addition to pornographic websites that host pornographic material, there are several pornographic search engines. So you can go to one of these search engines. I would just kind of anchor one with the name, PornMD. And you can go there and search. You can enter Erin Andrews, and the videos that I was asked to investigate will come up, along with many other videos. And many of the other videos will be a variety of people in different numbers doing different sexual acts.
Your Honor, objection 403.
Well, let's move on.
All right. That's why I said not graphic.
Okay.
I just want to get the simple point across.
Okay.
All right. So, but then there's other places that it shows up on the internet as well, correct?
Correct. There's many other sites, gossip sites, file sharing sites, blogs, individuals' blogs, on the search engine results page themselves from Google, Bing, and the other search engines.
All right. And so then, in doing all this work and collecting all this data, if you started in 2014, how were you able to figure out not just what's happened since then, but also what had happened back in 2009, and give us an opinion?
Okay. I primarily used two services, or three services, two provided by Google, one provided by Bing. They have services that you can log into and submit a query, and will tell you how much traffic that query is getting by month. Okay. That covers the 2-year window. So I did my first investigation in August of 2014, so I could get the actual search traffic back to August of 2012. Google also has another search tool called Google Trends that goes all the way back to 2004. It doesn't give absolute values, but it gives percentages. And I was able to just do a simple comparison between the 2 years that I had and calculate the actual number of searches back to July 2009. Bing has a similar keyword tool that'll give me searches for the queries that I submit.
And has Erin Andrews' peephole video at various times been in the top 10 of searches going on in America?
Yes. As part of my market research, I read many articles, popular press articles at the time. The search engines also publish lists of different periods, month or year, of the top queries that people are searching for. And especially in July 2009, Erin Andrews with the top search term.
So, is the kind of work that you have done in this case to find out how many times people go to certain kinds of sites and so forth, is that actually used in the business world for decisions on advertising?
Yes. The keyword tools I use, they are designed primarily for businesses to calculate search volume that they can then use for online advertising. Well, I think as individuals we think of the search engines as information finding tools, but they're really advertising businesses. And so companies leverage this information to determine how much to pay for online advertising.
Okay, so this is what you've done here is an analysis that in your world is reliable, mainstream, and is done all the time in the business world, correct?
Yes, these techniques and these tools are used by big businesses, small businesses, advertising agencies to get volume of traffic, website design. I've used them in classes that I've taught students to set up advertising campaigns for companies. I've used them in other research.
Okay. All right. So, one other thing I want to mention, when you wrote up your work, you mentioned at one point that there was a number 22 and then a number 23, and the number 23 was a typo or something. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Just so that it's out there, would you explain to them what that's about?
To calculate the number of people that have viewed these videos, I selected a number of queries. It ended up to 22 is what I used to calculate all the viewing. And one of my reports had been a cut and paste error, and one of them got copied twice. So in the report it was 23, but it was only 22. I checked it. I mean, it's still just 22 were used to calculate all the numbers.
Okay, so did you clear that up when your deposition was taken?
Yes, I did.
And did it change any of your opinions in this case?
No, it didn't change the opinion, it didn't change the numbers.
All right. Okay, so would you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury your opinion, conservatively, as to how many hits there have been on an Erin Andrews peephole video going back to July of 2009? Just give them the number, and then we're going to unpack it a little bit, okay?
Okay. I just want to clarify that my number is actual people, it's not hits. The number of people that are actually viewed. And, you know, in my opinion, 16,800,000 and change have viewed the video.
So, that is conservative for the reasons that we talked about earlier, but for some other reasons as well, correct?
That's correct. That 16,800,000 people, those are the ones that I could find data for, and I could somehow verify that data with some other source. So I'm very confident in those 16,800,000 people. In my report, I mentioned other possibilities, and this probably certainly is an undercount, but I couldn't verify that data.
All right. So now let's understand why that is so conservative. Is it possible that it's just one person that's hit on it 16,800,000 times?
No.
Okay, explain how you dealt with that question of repeat visits.
Right. The people many times go back and look at a site that they've seen before, and academics have done research on that, and search engine companies have done research on that, and it's about 30%. So once I had calculated the number of visits or views of video, I discounted that number by 30%, which gave me the 16,800,000 change.
Okay, so the raw number, so to speak, is higher, but because of the fact that sometimes people watch something a second time, you brought it down by that 30% to the 16.8 million, correct?
That is correct.
So then, another thing. Your estimate, because you said it do so that the ladies and gentlemen can fully evaluate all of the evidence in the case is we're going to play these videos. And have you actually seen these things when you've done your work on the internet as part of your research on this?
Yes. I've seen the videos that was provided, deframed them, and I've seen them countless times from all sorts of websites online.
Are they on websites right now?
Yes, they are on websites right now. They're getting posted still on websites right now.
You mentioned that you issued your report and then did a supplemental report. Your first opinion was formed by what date, roughly?
My first submission I went from July 2009 to the July 2015.
And then you did more work since the report in July of 2015, right?
Yes, I was asked to update the numbers through the end of January 2016, which the last month that I had full data for.
Using the same conservative approach that you took, how many more people have seen it in this interim time with your supplemental report?
In the last 6 months, about 376,000 people have watched the videos.
And the bulk of that is before this trial began.
Well, all of that is before the trial began. I ended at the end of January 2016.
And are you able to tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury a frequency with which these people are viewing?
Yes. Well, 376,000 over a 6-month period, you can break that down by month, day, hour, minute. And it works out to every minute about 1.5 people are watching that video. So right now, someone's watching that video. And in another minute, another person or maybe two are going to be watching it, and that goes, on average, 24/7.
And that's assuming that each time it's just one pair of eyes, right?
Yes, that's just using my one pair of eyes and the one avenue of data collection.
Okay, so what I'd like to do is, Your Honor, can we be assured that the security camera is paused while we show this on the big screen?
With the lights off.
You know, we can, whatever you think. Lights down. What I'm going to do is I'm going to walk up towards the witness stand with the court's permission so I can Okay, so there were 7 videos of Erin Andrews from the Nashville Marriott, correct?
That is correct.
All right, and why don't we start with the first one, and then we'll go through each one of them, and all of these are on the internet, is that right?
These videos are online, or stills from these videos are online.
Okay, go ahead. Oh, it's supposed to be the non-pixelated. The ones that are on the internet are not pixelated, correct?
There are both online, pixelated and non-pixelated. The pixelated are usually on the major news organization sites, the porn sites, and other gossip sites have the unpixelated ones.
Okay. So this is the first one at the Nashville Marriott, correct?
Yes, this is one of the ones that is, I don't know what's the first, but this is one of the ones at the national variant.
Okay, can we go to the second one, please? Can we go to the third one, please? Number 4, please. Number 5. Number 6. And number 7. Okay, thank you. You know, before we turn on the lights, with the court's permission, a few questions and then another video, just briefly. You said that the Nashville Marriott video broke down to a total of 272 seconds, which is about 4.5 minutes. Recall that?
Yes.
We also sent you a video that he had done at the Blackwell Hotel some months earlier that has also been on the internet, correct?
Yes, it has.
And you said that that one was about 6 seconds.
Yes, 6 seconds. 6 seconds.
Okay. So if we could just play that one so that the ladies and gentlemen of the jury can see what that was. That was it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, Your Honor, if you could have the lights back and the security camera can go back on.
Sound like a school teacher, but man was pressing my right through all this. Describe it.
During that 5 minutes or so, another 5 to 7 people watched it, correct?
Yes, on average, about.
By that I don't mean all of us in here that were watching it, correct?
That's correct.
Last area, teach us, if you would, about getting this sort of thing off the internet. Keep it simple.
Well, there's a saying that once it's on the internet, it's on the internet, and I know of no way to get it off. Just in doing continued research, people are still posting the video online. A year ago, 6 months ago, a month ago, last night. So many people have individual copies out there. I don't know of any way. I can't think of any way of sitting here to get it off. So.
Will it basically, in your opinion, be on there for the rest of your life?
Speculation.
I'll withdraw and ask a different question. Will she have any way of getting it all off the internet?
As we approach.
You know what, Your Honor, I'll withdraw the question and ask my final. Is it in other parts of the world as well?
Yes, it is. As part of my research, I first focused just on the United States, but then I was interested in what traffic was being, or the viewing from outside the United States. So what I did was identified countries where Ms. Andrews had, or there was interest in Ms. Andrews from searching data, and also where Google had a substantial market share. And I did that because of the reliability of data There are other search engines in the world, but I couldn't access the data. So I focused on 13 countries where the video was being viewed outside the United States.
So the concept of going viral, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you heard Dr. Comstock use that term earlier today. What does it mean on the internet when something goes viral?
Well, it's a relative term, but it's when a piece of information or video or picture is rapidly and substantially spread throughout multiple websites. It generates a lot of interest, gets a lot of views or reading, and it is duplicated in multiple locations across the internet, typically in a very rapid time frame.
And in your opinion, will it ever come down off the internet?
Objection, Your Honor, it's outside the scope. Overruled.
In my opinion, no, because once these things are posted, there's really no incentive for a website to take it offline.
Thank you very much. I'd like to mark his curriculum vitae, Your Honor, next in order. And we have a copy for each juror. We may hand them to the jurors.
First.
Right here. I just have mine here.
Wait a second.
I didn't know what you meant. I'm sorry. Okay. Good. I apologize.
Good afternoon, Dr. James.
Good afternoon, sir.
We're answering for the defendants. I understand your testimony. As part of your analysis, you came up with 22 queries that you then used to determine how many, the raw data that you then refined, correct?
Yes, I used 23 queries to get the search traffic.
Okay. Was it 23 or was it 22?
I'm sorry, 22.
Okay. I thought I had it right.
Yeah.
I thought I had it
Sorry.
right that time. Of those 22 queries, none of them contained the word Nashville, did they?
I don't believe they did, no.
And none of them contained the word Marriott?
No.
And none of them contained the word Vanderbilt?
No.
None of them contained the word South Carolina football game?
No.
None of them were limited to a specific date in September of 2008, were they? Is that no?
And limited to a specific date?
Did you have your query include a date, such as September 2nd, 2008, September 3rd, 2008, September 4th, 2008?
Well, I was asked to do the traffic from July 2009 going forward.
Yes, sir, I understand that. But, for example, one of your queries would be Erin Andrews' peephole video.
Okay?
Was that one of the queries?
I believe that was one of the queries, yes.
And so, but you never had a query that said Erin Andrews' peephole video, September.
I believe that was one of the queries, yes.
And so, but you never had a query that said Erin Andrews' peephole video, September 4th, 2008, as your search term.
No, I didn't.
And so when you were doing this analysis for all the peepholes, peephole videos, in the 22 different queries you did, you were literally pulling up all of the possible contacts for the videos, correct?
I don't understand the question.
Let me ask it a different way. Your search queries did not distinguish between the videos taken at the Marriott Nashville and the one taken in Ohio.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, what I did during my analysis, I checked that to see if I could find a query that would result.
Dr. Jansen, let me stop you there. My question was, did your queries make that distinction?
Objection, Your Honor. He was in the middle of an answer.
Can you answer the question? Go ahead.
Yes. If I understand your question correctly, what I did was I attempted to see if there was a query that would just bring up one set of the videos or not. Okay? In terms of if something could, a query could generate a result that just showed the videos not from Nashville. And I was unable to generate a query that would do that.
And so the 16.8 million people and change that you testified about, you can't tell the jury what percentage of that, to a reasonable degree of scientific certainty, was from Blackwell versus what was from the Vanderbilt Marriott.
Well, as I just said, every query that I was able to test brought up videos or video or stills from that were taken at the Nashville Marriott. And that those particular videos comprised over 97% of the seconds and actual pictures online.
And so you took the length of the video and said, well, since it's 97% of the total length of all videos, it must be 97% of all the hits.
No.
Did your analysis indicate which video any of the potential people that looked at this pulled up first?
No, my analysis did not.
And the 6 seconds of video would have created, by your earlier testimony, 90 still shots, correct?
Yes, there were 90 still shots in that particular 6-second video.
And as I understand, your definition of what the video was included still shots, correct?
Not exactly the videos. What I looked at was the number of people that had viewed either the video or the images from the video.
In your report, did you not refer, for purposes of brevity, to copies of the peephole video or any related images based on the videos as the peephole videos?
In my report, rather than saying video or set of videos and associated images, I referenced some shorthand, either the peephole videos, the videos taken in Miss Andrews, for the brevity in the report.
How many unique visitors does a website like ESPN get in a month?
I don't know that number off the top of my head.
Would 80 million per month sound unreasonable to you?
There are sites that get 80 million. Again, I don't know what ESPN gets.
80 million.
Yes, I heard you. There are sites that get 80 million. I don't know if ESPN is one of them or not.
So a site that was getting 80 million views from July of 2009 to present, that would be over 6 billion views. That math sound about right?
Without checking the math, but we want to go with you, yes.
And then there are about 3.5 trillion with a T Google searches a day, correct?
Again, without checking the absolute numbers, the searches go into billions or trillions, per day.
In your report, did you not reference a footnote that indicated that Google processes about 3.5 trillion searches a day?
Yes, I had that footnote in my report.
So with my understanding of the process you went about, Google provided you with two separate tools. There was Google Trends, and I apologize it escapes me, what's the other?
The other tool was the Google Keyword Tool.
And Google Keyword Tool is the tool that you can use to go approximately 2 years back in time.
Yes, it's a 2-year sliding window that will give you the number of searches.
And once you go past 2 years, you had to use Google Trends.
Yes.
And then based on what you saw in the 2-year sliding window in keywords and what you saw in trends, you were able to extrapolate what Google Trends would have given you if Google Keyword would go back that far.
Yes, and maybe I should explain how I did it. With the 2-year window, I was able to create an overlap. So I had really a 2-year overlap between the two tools. Google Trends gives you a number between 0 and 100. Okay. I was able to determine what 1 represented, since I had the actual searches for a 2-year period. And with that, it was basic math to calculate the number of searches going back to July 2009.
And in Google Trends, 100 is the maximum, correct?
Yes. 100 represents the max volume of searches within whatever given period you're looking at.
And that number is specific to an individual search, or in this case, an individual person, correct?
That number is specific to an individual query.
So if I were to look myself up on Google Trends, despite the fact that there's not going to be anything there, I would have a personal 100, presumably.
Well, if it's not, it would depend. I would have to see that specific example, but if there's nothing there, a lot of times it won't give you any data.
So if you had someone else who was a celebrity, they would have a 100 for a given period of time.
The 100 in Google Trends represents the max number of searches, so that would be the 100.
And then any number below 100 is relative, again, to that same person.
Any number below that, or not 100, is relative to that query. So it would be, you have a monthly income, and how much do you spend on groceries? It would be that percentage. It would be the same calculation.
Have you ever got like marked as an next exhibit for indicated purposes?
Number 25.
May I approach you?
Do I take this one?
Dr. Jansen, this is a screenshot I took on my computer. Do you see what it represents?
Yes.
And is this a Google Trends for Miss Andrews for the period of time of April 2009 through October 2009?
Well, this is the Google Trends interface. The search query here is Erin Andrews. It's set to the United States. It's from 2009. I don't know the start date, but and this is a Google Trends interface.
Your Honor, we'd like to admit that as the next exhibit.
Number 24.
You have objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
State your objection to the record again.
Hearsay?
Well, if I've been asked is, can it identify this as authentic? I mean, it looks like a Google Trends screenshot.
Okay, Your Honor, I mean, if need be, we can take a break, I'll set up a computer, and we can go through the steps of going through Google. And that's fine with me. I mean, other than calling someone else from Google, I don't know how else to do it.
He can testify based on hearsay as an expert. If you have any questions, you want to approach the document.
It's fine with us, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hold this up to the jury, Your Honor. So I want to talk a little bit about this line chart here. And so it gives you a Google Trends, when you get down to a small area, it'll give you a week breakdown, correct?
Depending on how you set the parameters, you can go from year, month, week, down to day.
And in this one, it's showing July 12th through 18th of 2009, correct?
Are you referring to the whole graph, or what?
Where that dot is at the bottom, and then do you see the date?
Yes.
Okay. And so for July 12th through 18th through 2009, that week, her Miss Andrews' Google Trends score is a 4, correct?
For the query, Erin Andrews, yes, this during the week of 12 to 18, based on this, her percentage was 4.
And even though we're just talking about that one data point, you can see how it trends over time, correct?
Well, you can, if you look at the larger interest over time, you can see it from whatever the start date is to the end date, and it'll show you whatever the percentages are from 0 to, looks like in this case is maybe 100.
So if you see, and it's not the easiest thing to see, but there's April of 2009, the box is covering up the other months, and then we've got October of 2009. Do you see that, Dr. James?
Yes, I do.
And so right after July, the week of July 18th, there is a considerable spike in Google Trends, correct?
Well, I don't know, because it's where the box is placed, I don't know what triggered that, but because I can't see the timelines, but if that dot is on the, if that's July, then yes, it would just preceding an increase.
Well, maybe this next exhibit will help you out, number 26. Dr. Jansen, does Exhibit 26 that's just been handed to you appear to be the same chart in Exhibit 25, but with a different data point highlighted?
Yes, this appears to be the Google Trends interface with the same location and year selected, and a new data point.
And so the data point now is July 19 through 25, that very next week, past the one in 25, and Ms. Andrews' score is a 100, correct?
Yes, during the July 19 to 25, 2009, the Google Trend score is 100.
Okay. I'd like to show you number 27. Dr. Jansen, does number 27 appear to be that same chart from 25 and 26, but with a different data point highlighted?
Yes, this also appears to be a Google Trends with a different data point highlighted.
Okay, so the data point in this case is fast forward a couple of weeks from the 25th, and now we're at August 9th through August 15th, 2009, correct?
Yes, that's what appears to be the data point.
Okay, and at that point, 2 weeks after the 100, Miss Andrews' score is a 3, correct?
Yes, during the week of August 9th to August 15th, the score is a 3.
Okay, so we've gone through that. Now let me show the jury what we've got. So we've got Exhibit 25 on the screen on the 12th through the 18th of 2009. Miss Andrews is a 4, correct?
I'm sorry, I missed the date again?
July 12th, the one that's actually on your screen there, sir, in front of you.
Oh, okay.
July 12th through the 18th, 2009, Miss Andrews' score is a 4 on Google Trends, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we go to James 3. And so now this is Exhibit 26. We're now 1 week forward, July 19th through 23, or 25, I apologize. Miss Andrews hits a 100, correct?
Yes, during that week of 19 to 25 July, the score is 100.
And then in 27, two weeks later, Miss Andrews is down to a 3, correct?
Yes, during the August 15 period, the score is a 3.
As you sit here today, are you aware of what occurred between July 17th and July 18th?
I read the popular press articles of what happened during that time.
And what happened, sir?
That was the time period when the videos were posted on various websites.
And so that week, were you aware that there was a press release also issued that confirmed that the video was Miss Andrews?
I was from doing market research and reading the popular press articles at the time. Actually, maybe I have to could you repeat the question again?
Yes. Were you aware that during the week of July 18th or July 17th, there was a press release issued that confirmed that the individual in the videos was Miss Andrews?
I was not aware of a press release, no.
And yet, 2 weeks later after the spike, her Google Trends score is lower than what it was before the video went viral, correct?
I'm missing the first exhibit, but the...
25?
Yes.
On July 12th through 18th, she was a 4. On August 9th through 15th, she's a 3.
Yes, 3 is less than 4.
Got one last exhibit, and then I'll wrap it up. 28. Mr. Jason, it was my understanding of your testimony earlier that Google Trends will allow you to look over a period dating back to 2004, correct?
Yes, the Google Trends data set goes back to 2004.
And so the document that I have before you is a similar chart to the others that we've had, 25 through 27. But this one is actually over that period of time, starting in 2004 through the present. Does that appear correct, sir?
Yes, based on the headers, it's geolocated to the United States and covers the time period 2004 to the present for the query Erin Andrews.
We'd like to admit this as an next exhibit, Your Honor.
28.
I'm sorry?
28.
And so this here is showing the 10-year trend history for the query Erin Andrews, correct?
Yes.
And a query of Erin Andrews would cover anybody that queried Erin Andrews, not just individuals that were looking for a peephole video or Dancing with the Stars clip or anything else. It's anybody that put in the query Erin Andrews.
It would cover everybody that put in the query Erin Andrews on the Google search engine from 2004 to the present.
And if you look at the spike in the middle, does that appear to fall somewhere near where you would believe July of 2009 would be?
Well, the spike is between 2009 and 2010, so yes, it could possibly be in the July time period there.
Just one question, one last question for you, Dr. Jansen. You are not suggesting to this jury that someone that has one photo of them without permission placed on the internet is injured more or less, is injured less than someone who has 10 photos put up.
Objection, incomplete hypothetical.
Rephrase your question.
Is it your testimony that Ms. Andrews is injured more because the video is 4.5 minutes instead of 6 seconds?
Again, I was asked to investigate how many people have viewed the video from July 2009 to the end of January 2016, and that's my only opinion.
So the answer would be no, you don't have an opinion.
My opinion is the number of people that have viewed the video.
Thank you.
Briefly, Your Honor, just so that there's no confusion, the exhibits 25 through 28 from Google that have been placed in front of you and that reference the search term Erin Andrews, does any of that change any of the opinions that you've expressed to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury on direct examination?
No, it doesn't change any of my opinions. The aspect of Google Trends outlined here is similar to the process that I did myself, going through and identifying the search traffic for the 22 queries that I used to form the number of people that viewed the videos.
So still, no matter what charts are put up in front of you, what graphics, what periods of time are taken, you still, from your own analysis and work, have the same opinions that you did before counsel started asking questions?
Yes, the same opinions. 16,800,000 people conservatively have viewed the videos.
Thanks so much.
Dr. Jansen, I just want to make sure. Sure. Now, those charts, you say they don't change your opinions, but they don't affect your opinion that 1.5 people every second still see this video?
No, they don't change the opinion.
Thank you.
Would you tell
Oh, sorry. I meant it's one every minute, not every second. Sorry.
If I could just ask did you calculate that based on what happened back in July of 2009?
If I understand it correctly, the search data where I referenced the one person viewing the video every minute, that's taken from actual search traffic from Google, not Google Trends, actual number of searches that are occurring for those 22 queries referencing the Marriott videos.
Still the same opinion?
Same opinion.
Thanks.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay, you can step down.
Thanks, sir.
The jury, that concludes the evidence for today. You're excused until Monday morning at 9 o'clock. Please don't discuss the case.
Sir, what I do, please? Thank you, sir.